Will this silver black velvet number 12 round brush do what I want it to do compared to these two brushes that I've used for the past 6 years? My number 12 Princeton Neptune synthetic squirrel brush and my number 8 round Princeton Aqua Elite synthetic sable brush have been doing. I'm looking for a brush, a new brush that will do the same thing that both of these will do in one brush. As you notice, when I lay these down and put the ferrules of the brush all even, the Princeton Aqua Elite comes to a nice point, and it's a firmer, stiffer brush than the Princeton Neptune. And the Princeton Neptune holds a lot more water than the Aqua Elite because it has a thicker, bigger body, and it's synthetic squirrel. The silver black velvet is a blend of synthetic fibers, which is going to make your brush a little stiffer and firmer, but it has the natural squirrel hair, unlike the synthetic. And if I line these up, you can see that the silver black velvet is a lot longer brush than the other two. You can also see on the brush that this one comes out a little more solid where these taper in. And I have been struggling to hang on to these brushes comfortably in my hand with my arthritic hands. These have been great brushes for 6 years, and they're still great brushes. Princeton brushes are still a great brush, but I need to find a brush that has a little bit better, bigger handle, but still can do the point detail of my other brush here, my smaller Princeton brush, all in one. I'm CB Mac, and welcome back to Country Boardwalk Studios. You'll find tutorials that I enjoy doing on how to make your own art supply for plein air painting, urban sketching, and using the same things in the studio. But let's get back to this question, to the video here. Let me move these brushes over to the side here. I'm wanting to test a new brush, and I've been told that the silver black velvet is a really good brush to try. So I'm going to do some tests. I'm going to take these pieces of tape off to hold these brushes still. All right, and for this brush, comparing it to the, you can see how the tip is really fine for small detail work. Granted, I've had it for 6 years, but it's still a good brush and it still works, but this one has a longer, finer tip. So let's practice. I'm going to use some of this. I'm just going to use the same color paint for all of them. Let's do some brush strokes. If you notice on my paper, I'm using my Strathmore sketchbook. I've got Princeton Aqua Elite number 8 round with the synthetic sable. That's hard to say. Now, to do my fine tip, this really does do a nice fine tip as I drag it along. And it holds a good amount of water. And it snaps back to a point. So it's been doing really good for my detail work. There's not many paintings that I will do start to finish with this one. But see, it holds quite a bit of water. I've been able to do a lot of these marks. And it sits nicely in my hand. But to sit with my hand like this for long periods of time, or even with holding it back here, that's really tight on my arthritic joints. So I'm trying to find something that will work a little bit easier and comfortable for me. All right, that's our number 8 Princeton round. And let me show you what the Princeton Neptune with its synthetic squirrel. Now the Aqua Elite was the synthetic sable, and this one is the synthetic squirrel. And if we put it in the water and bring it to a nice point and fix that point, and I can show you what this brush looks like against the number 12. There's where the ferrule meets up with both of them. And you see how that handle is just a slight bit smaller. And the bristles are about the same. But do you see how this is a lot longer and a little more narrow? It's got the body. They've got about the same amount of bristles to them. But this just looks like it has a little bit more of a tip, and I like the length of that handle. And this one feels a little heavier than this one. So I feel like this one might be more comfortable for my grip. So let's test this one. This one will hold a whole lot of water. Let's test the tip on this one, on how fine a tip I can get. And I can get a pretty good tip on it. But it's not very consistent for me. And this one, see how it doesn't snap back? So it doesn't have really good control when you're trying to do tight work. This one's more for washes, for getting nice flow of washes down when you want to get and it's great for layering. When you want to layer, see, it just works a whole lot better on doing big flat washes. It's mainly for washes, and that's mainly what I use it for. But I'm wanting to try to find something where I have just one brush And I'm curious to know, I'm going to rinse this out in this dirty water since it's still got the gum arabic on it to clean it out. But see how that comes back to a nice point? It comes back to a nice, really thin, sharp point. And if I squeeze it out, it's like a razor sharp point against that paper. But it's a lot firmer feeling. See how that just springs back into shape when I... So I'm wondering if this brush is going to do what I'm wanting it to do with making nice washes. See, that's going to make nice washes. And I feel like I can control it better. See how it comes back and it's not as floppy as the other? That also still holds quite a lot of water because of the belly. And let's test this on our tip of the brush. That makes a lot finer, even when I'm wiggling. That still makes such a nice control on the bristles. I feel like there's, yeah, see that springs back and I have a little bit more control on where my paint is being applied compared to the other brush. I have so much more control with that than I do this one. Let me show you this one. See, there's not as much control because it bends down eventually and it stays curved more. The other one curves, but it kind of just, it snaps back a little bit better. Now with layering, this is dry. It does allow me to layer on top of my other paint. And for my style of painting, I'm just thinking I might be able to get just a hair more control with this brush. I like doing a lot more detail work and realistic work with mine, with my paintings. I'm noticing this with my paintings. All right, let's see how this works on. Yeah, see that even does lighter layers without moving the paint below. This one doesn't move the paint, but it puts heavier layers because I can't feel the control. I don't feel like I have the control to put the paint down. I can control where I'm going with it, even with just a slight tip. Let's try this. Whereas with my Aqua Elite, I can do the layering and it not move. Get that off of there. But I'm having to switch back and forth between. But now that is, it's such a thin brush that I'm finding that it's harder for my arthritic hands. So I think I'm going to try and go and play around with this silver black velvet. It seems to have a little more combination of both of these brushes, which are great brushes, and I will still use these brushes. But I just need to find a brush that can do a little bit of both of these brushes in one. So I hope this has shown you the difference of the brushes and also giving you a little bit of insight into trying out brushes to see what feels better in your hand and how you want your art to evolve and change, which it will as you go from beginner to intermediate and advanced. The more that you paint with it, the more you will realize that there are certain things that you're looking for and want to find in a brush that will become your new favorite. So I think I'm going to start using this one. You'll start seeing this one in my painting sessions more. Now the price on these, I got both of these brushes in a set of 4 brushes, which ran about $20 to $25 US dollars. And this brush I bought at my local store, art store, and it by itself was $30. So it's a little more pricier. It's still in the budget friendly category compared to the standard, or what is considered standard in watercolor, the sable brush. A good professional quality sable brush can cost in the hundreds of dollars. So this brush is a little bit more expensive than this brush when it's sold separately. I think sold separately, this one runs about $25 and that. But I'll post links down below. You can find all these brushes on Amazon, including this black velvet. But I think I'm going to start using a new brush so that I can not have my hands cramp up as much. Being an older painter, a senior painter at my age, the type of brush you use does make a little bit of a difference. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post those down below. I do read each and every one of those comments, and I try to answer all the questions. I'll post, like I said, the links to these, and I'm still going to be away from painting and posting for a while. I've got some family members who are sick, and I'm having to take some time away from my art and my channel for that. And so I just want to be transparent with you why I have not been posting quite as much. But if you have any comments or suggestions, go ahead and put those down below, and I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Goodbye for now.